So we're going to look a bit at analysing a track now, so that we can use the track as a kind of a skeleton to help us build an arrangement. So we've probably got lots of ideas and loops that don't have any kind of progression or development. So what I'm going to use is another piece of music to analyse. So to do this, I've just selected this track, and I'm just going to drop it onto this blank section of the arrangement window. So to start with, I'm going to press Don't Import because I want to show you some specific features. So I'm going to delete this other channel. You can see the track. If I press this button, it will show the whole audio file. And now what I'm planning to do is to literally use this as building blocks so that I can see where all the different sections of the track are, and then I can start to recreate something using this as a bit of a map. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to double click onto the audio file, which opens the audio editor at the bottom of the screen. And I'm going to click on Smart Tempo. And then hit Edit. And what this does, it analyzes the audio and then tells us what the tempo of the project is so that we can set our project tempo so that it's the same. So we can do double and half time. So because it's drum and bass, this is either going to be 87 or 174. I'm going to go for 174. And the other item to look at is this little box. So if we are listening to potentially some older music or live music, it might not be to a metronome, it might not be kind of mechanical. So it might skip around a little bit, which then makes it difficult to work out what the tempo is. Make sure it's on constant, then it will measure the BPM of the track and keep it to an average that you can essentially apply to your project. I'm going to turn the volume of this track down slightly because it is mastered, so it will be loud. And then I'm going to set my project tempo to 174. So next I'm going to zoom in. You can close this. You can zoom in. And it's important that I make sure that a downbeat actually happens on the right position in the arrangement on the first beat of a bar. Doesn't necessarily matter which bar, but it does matter. But it does matter that it happens on the right beat. I'm also going to come to this option here, which is snap regions to absolute value. Just basically means that the zoom level won't affect as much how much our audio moves and snaps to the grid. So I basically need to make sure that this is in time, otherwise everything else that we do using it as a map will become very difficult to work with. So there we go. Essentially perfectly loops there. Now if it wasn't in the right place, so let me just move it back to where it was. That's where it was originally. We might hear a little skip. Like that. If it's perfect, it should be a seamless loop. Like that. Okay. So, a couple of ways that we can go around this, but essentially what I'm going to suggest that you do is create a software instrument channel, empty, hit create, and then think of the sounds that we can hear. So in this little part, there is a whole phrase of bass. Okay, it really doesn't matter what order we do this in, but I can hear there's a bass riff there. So control click, create an empty MIDI region. Now that riff was the whole of that 4-bar section. If it was a 2-bar loop, I would have done it like this and then potentially repeated it. So what else is there? There's 2 guitar parts. So guitar 1. Guitar 2. There's a vocal. We've then got kick. We got snare. We've got a drum break. There's a crash cymbal. I think that's pretty much all the sounds that are there. Let's move back to this section. So we have the same guitar. Granted, it's cut off here. There's a different vocal part. So let's check the whole of this section. There's also a reverse cymbal or a riser. So that is in this little gap here. Right, so I'm going to move on to this section now. So I am imagining that within this block, this will be repeated. So So the drums were different at the end of that. So just so that I'm aware of this now, I'm just going to give a little colour. And then I'm going to copy all this over to here. Now let's have a listen. So we've now got a high layer on each guitar. Now, by looking at the waveform, something happens here. It might only be subtle, but the waveform is guiding us as to what's going to happen. We can see another obvious change here, but there's a little subtle one here, so let's check it out. So it's more reduction of the sound. So let's check what happens here. So just realise that is actually a different vocal there. And there is a new one here. I'm going to label that vocal. I'm going to label that vocal so I know which one it is. True. So at the very least, it's all of this beginning section. So put my locators around it. I'm going to press Shift and L, which selects everything within the regions. And then I'm going to press Shift and I'm going to deselect the top track, the reference, and then I'm going to slide everything over to here. And let's see. So basically, this gives us a whole map of the track. And I know I haven't populated any of it. I've not put any parts in. But now you would essentially mute the top channel, assign an instrument, or find an audio loop and start to build your track using this as a guide.